Okay, hi everybody. So this is our Growing Confidence in College uh, presentation. My name is Chris. I am here with Grace, one of our representatives from the CAPS Mental Health and Wellness Peer Mentors. And also joining us is Allie, one of our peer advising supervisors. Um, Today, we're going to be going over self-confidence in college, something that all college students can benefit from, and we hope that you get a lot out of this presentation. So this is these are our little logos. This is who we are. We'll do a little bit of an introduction. Um, this is our agenda for the day. We're going to go through what our specific programs do. We're going to go over some tips for growing your confidence, some resources for further development, and then at the end, we'll have contact information should you want to reach out to either of our offices in the future, which we hope you do. So a little bit about peer advising first. We have 3 peer advisors, myself, and then Denise and Mirage. And some of the stuff that we go over includes sort of the logistical side of helping students, like filling out forms, registration tips, presentations, like how we do this, just general student advice. And we were created to provide a student opinion, once again, on the logistical side of student life, so that students have an area to go to where it's not meeting with an advisor, it's meeting with a student. And we have found that students who meet with us have enjoyed it and benefited from us. So we hope to see more students in the future. We are always available, and once again, our contact information will be at the end of the presentation, so feel free to shoot us an email. Now I will turn it over to Grace, who can talk a little bit about CAPS.
Hi everyone, my name is Grace. As Chris said, CAPS Peer Mentors are student-led support groups through the University Counseling Center, and they are free. During these support groups, we address challenges students may be having, such as coping with daily stressors, self-discovery, gaining life skills, connecting with peers, and basically anything that you may feel brings you stress or you need to talk to more about with peers. These support groups are confidential, but with that said, if there's anything that needs to be addressed that's a little more serious, or you're putting yourself or your others at risk, then we will have to address that with our director. But these support groups are a really good way to connect with peers and address some issues you may be having. As of now, there's about 4 different support groups through the week, so we try to accommodate everyone's schedule. And then there's even a support group for LGBTQ. So we hope you guys check that out. And at the end, we'll put our email and everything in the chat.
Thank you, Grace. So now we have some tips for growing confidence. So we'll sort of go back and forth with these. I'll do one, Grace will do another, and then we'll get through them. Firstly, take at least one class you know you'll enjoy each semester, because it will ease your mental burden. Personally, as a student, I have found that every student has elective credits that they need to take. And if you sprinkle those throughout your academic career, you can take at least one class that you actually want to take. And when I say that, I am comparing and contrasting that to, say, courses required for your major that you might not particularly enjoy. For example, I'm a psych major, but I had to take a statistics course for my psych major, which I didn't particularly enjoy, but it was just something I had to do anyway. So if you can not overwhelm yourself and take at least one course that you actively want to take, and it's more than just fulfilling a requirement, you will be less stressed than you would otherwise.
For 2, reward yourself for your achievements. You deserve it. So I really love this one because celebrating even the little things you accomplish are extremely important. Waking up every day is an achievement. So by celebrating every little and big thing in your life, you can really appreciate yourself more and appreciate the world more.
Take time for things you enjoy doing. So just some examples we've included, like dancing, art, writing, hobbies, games, etc. College life doesn't need to be solely dedicated to your academics. College is one part of your identity as a person during this time, and you should make sure to take times for things that you enjoy. Don't focus all of your energy on your academics and burn yourself out. Make sure that you give yourself that time to enjoy things outside of school. And if you're the kind of student who can devote all your time and energy to academics and you genuinely enjoy doing that, then power to you. Me as a student, I definitely take time every day doing things that aren't related to school. Even if I am really kind of in the groove of doing something with school, I'll sort of take time to do something else just to make sure that I have that kind of mental balance with my activities and it helps me not be as stressed.
Absolutely. Even like if I have a long day of school, I just take at least like 30 minutes a night just to watch my favorite show or something. And that really calms me down. So number four, surround yourself with positive people you love. I'm a really big person who believes on the importance of energy. So when you're constantly surrounding yourself with negative energy, it can really weigh you down due to the feeling of overburden of consuming that energy or some negative person's energy. So when you surround yourself with positive people, this can really influence you to grow better as a person, and it can really influence others to attract their positive energies towards you. And there's actually a song I really like. I forgot who made it, but it goes, I love myself so much that I can love you so much that you can love you so much that you can start loving me. I know that's kind of a tongue twister. You might have to rewind the video for that one. But I think it really embodies this one because it is until you start surrounding yourself with positive people you can actually learn and influence as an individual yourself.
That's a great example. I love that song lyric. Um, I think people should definitely give that a listen because that's very motivational. Um, Number five, don't be afraid of asking for help, seeking help from professionals as well. Don't hold on to painful feelings, nurture yourself. This refers to, I will give a personal example for this. I was just having what I referred to as a personal development conversation, which I try and have with at least one or two friends every week that sort of compares where I was even last week, last month, whatever, to where I am now, to sort of witness growth, because I am the kind of person who tries to make sure that I'm constantly growing, even if it's slowly. You know, change doesn't happen overnight, but when you can recognize the small changes, it really reduces stress. That being said, in the effort to make those changes, sometimes one needs to ask for help, whether that's from your social support circle, like your friends, your family, whoever. If it's academic, you can speak to your advisors, your professors, uh, say emotional, mental stressors. We have groups like CAPS that, you know, specialize in helping students with these kinds of stressors. So absolutely don't be afraid of asking for help. People are here specifically to help you, and you don't have to go at it alone. So don't be afraid of asking for help.
Absolutely. Thanks for the cap shout out. Six, learn not to compare yourselves to others. I really love this one, and I feel like that's something we can all work on. Everyone will always have something they want to change about themselves, even if you believe that one person has the most perfect life. That's not always the case. So, through learning to spend time with yourself and appreciate the assets that you have, can be really impactful.
Very, very good points. Seven, don't ridicule yourself for your mistakes. So, in the process of living your life and doing things that you want to do, you're bound to make mistakes. And the acceptance of that fact will really reduce the amount of stress that you have to carry around. When you accept that mistakes are natural and that it's okay to make mistakes because you know that you will get through it and move on, it really reduces the amount of stress in your life. So, my advice would be when you make a mistake, don't ridicule yourself for it. Just sit down, recognize that you made a mistake, learn from it, and don't hold on to that stress.
Absolutely. Eight, learn how to focus on not ruminating on the past or future and live in the present. Honestly, I need to work on this one because I'm always like trying to think of the future. But if you keep worrying about what the future holds, then you'll miss out on the present and you'll never really live. So although it's easier said than done, try to really like focus on the present. And if you feel yourself feeling overwhelmed with past or future responsibilities, try to take a step back, breathe, take some time to yourself, and really focus in on the present and how you're feeling in that moment.
That is definitely something that I too have struggled with. I always think about the future, not so much the past, but just because in college, it's always going towards something, whether it's graduation or once you're a senior, finding a job, something like that. It seems like we're always going towards something, and it can be difficult to not think about what you're going towards and just live in the moment. So I definitely think that is a good one to mention. Number 9, step out of your comfort zone. So the little example that we provided for this, I really do like. Go on an outing by yourself. I will share a story with this one also. I do this all the time. And by outing, that could be anything from, a 10-minute walk where you're just by yourself listening to your favorite songs, whatever, or it can be a whole day. Just a couple weeks ago, I decided that because I didn't have any homework to do, I had finished my stuff for the week. It was Sunday. I was getting ready to prepare for the next week. I decided I wasn't going to do anything academic and I was going to take the whole day and just go out. I didn't even know where. So I just got in the car and started driving. I had phone calls with friends. I had such a nice, peaceful day out by myself, just exploring. I went to parks. I got food, just treated myself the whole day. And let me tell you, that was one of those things you see in like an indie movie where the main character changes perspectives drastically afterwards. Like it was so peaceful to do that. And that's not something that I ever really do. It was just a spur of the moment thought, and it was really fun. So step out of your comfort zone. And of course, one thing to mention with that would be identify where your comfort zone ends so that you know what to do to step out of it. And I think it can be really beneficial.
I love that. I'll tell a story too about outing about myself, but I'll wait till I get to love languages because what you were saying really ties into love languages and applying it to yourself. But for now, so for number 10, we have journaling. Journal daily things that you are proud of yourself. I've been really getting into journaling at night, and I've noticed when you journal more, it really allows you to like kind of connect and talk to yourself. So I think journaling is a great way to kind of reflect and seeing like what you like, what you don't like, what makes you whole as a person, what doesn't, and it can really bring comfort to your life.
Definitely, definitely. I try journaling also. And one thing that I'll add to that is I usually only journal when I'm stressed and I want to just get the stuff out there. But journaling, even when you're not stressed, just
Mhm.
to look at it is beneficial also. So I think that is definitely a good point to be made. Um, and okay, Allie, I just got your chat. Yes, I'm going to turn on captioning. So for people watching, sorry that we have not had captions until this point, but we're going to put that on now as soon as I remember how. Okay. Um, there are so many buttons. Allie, do you by chance remember how to?
It should be along the bottom there near the share screen button, but if you need, I can take hosting back and then I can turn it on if that works.
Oh, oh, I see it, I think. Nope, I don't. That's something.
That's all right. Continue on and I'll take care of it.
Okay, awesome, thanks. Okay, so we will have captions for the last part of the process. Okay, number 11, I think is where we're on. Making small goals that you can stick by. So this is a huge thing in college life because there's always something going on. There is classes and assignments, and a lot of us are working at the same time. So there's always stuff to do that really just gets in the way of things. So when you make small goals, you can recognize your accomplishments instead of recognizing what you haven't accomplished, if that makes sense. So every Monday, I put together, I have a whiteboard, you can see it in the background, with all the stuff that I want to do for that day on it. And I have it sectioned off into little spaces where I break it down into small attainable goals that I then do. And then when I'm done, I look at it and I think, okay, I've just done this. 4 more things to go. Not, oh gosh, I have 4 more things to go. I think, oh, I just did this first thing. It was not time consuming. I did it. I broke it down into an easy thing, and it makes you feel better. So making small goals to achieve your big goals is great for reducing stress.
I love that. I kind of do that. I just keep like a list of things I need to do on a sticky note and like put on my laptop. But I definitely think writing down something on a whiteboard where I can wake up and see it every morning can really help. So number 12, learn your love language and applying it to yourself. I really love this one because I just learned about love languages, and it's something I've been really into. So if you don't know what love languages are, there are 5 different ways for expressing and receiving love through words of affirmation, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Everyone has a different way of expressing love. So when you learn your love language and apply it to yourself, it can really make a big difference. I know CAPS, I can't remember what the actual video was called, but they actually have a webinar somewhere on their YouTube page, and it teaches you like how to figure out your own love language, or you could just Google love language quiz, and um, you can assess your own love language. But a story I had to tell that reminded me of your going on an outing by yourself. I actually took myself on a little date last year before the pandemic, and it was one of like the best things I could do. I went to the movies, got food by myself, and just like taking that time to like express love to myself and gratitude. That's just something that really boosted my self confidence, and I really appreciate it. And I will hope for everyone to experience this as well.
I think that is a great story, and thank you for sharing that because people don't realize, I feel, that doing things by yourself, one is okay, you can do things by yourself, and it's more than okay, it's actually fun, you can, you know yourself better than anybody, so you know what you can do to have fun, and really taking advantage of it and learning about yourself is really a fun thing to do. Okay, number 13. This one is more of a psychological kind of tip, but it's something that I just learned about recently in one of my classes that I thought I would share. It's called an ecological momentary assessment. You don't need to remember that to do it, but um, basically what it is you observe yourself or others. I mean, when I learned about it, it was in the context of psychological experiments on other people, but you can just as easily do this with yourself. And I think a lot of people do it and don't realize what it is. I know I do, but pretty much just observe yourself in what you would consider your natural environment. So for me, my natural environment would, these days be my room because we're home doing everything virtually. And observe yourself in your natural environment and then ask yourself, how am I feeling right now? Like in this moment, how am I feeling? And then do that 4 times a day. In the context of how I was learning it, people set timers on their phones, or they would just download an app where randomly at 4 points throughout the day, their phone would beep and they would write down in a notebook how they are feeling. And then you can go back and look and sort of average out your daily feelings chart, if that makes sense, because people feel stress and then they don't feel stress. And then when I look back on the stress that I did feel, most of it is stress that I just forget about and it's fine. But I know that there's a lot there during the course of the week between school and work and everything else that a typical college student does. So if you can really kind of analyze what is the problem with these assessments, you can really reduce stress. And then the second point I wanted to include here is actual nature, like going outside. Not everybody's an outdoors kind of person, but for me, my natural environment, like I said, would be my room or my house, because that's just where I spend most of my time. One thing that people might consider doing with an ecological momentary assessment would be putting yourself outside of your natural environment. So sort of like going outside your comfort zone, and then assessing yourself at different points during your time in an unnatural environment. So for me, not to say that going outside is unnatural, but just comparatively with working and going to school from home, going outside is a lot less of my time these days than it is inside. So going outside, I might consider setting a stopwatch on my phone or a timer, and then 4 times throughout, say, an hour-long walk, I record how I'm feeling. And then when you can compare how you're feeling when you're in an unnatural environment with your natural environment, if your unnatural environment is better, that might be indicative of a problem in your natural environment, if that makes sense. If I am happier somewhere that I am not all the time, why can't I be that happy in my natural environment? That might sound a little confusing, but if you really take a second and think about comparing yourself in these different places, you can really kind of pinpoint what the problem is, what's making you stressed, more so than just having schoolwork to do or something like that. So main point of that, I know that was kind of a long spiel, but main point of that one is sometimes it's not the physical things that are stressing you out, like your assignments. It can be emotional or something you don't even realize until you record it. So really just evaluate yourself, learn about yourself, which is kind of the overarching theme of a lot of these tips. Just learn about yourself and it can be really beneficial.
Can I chime in real quick, Chris?
Yes.
So one thing that I'm at least reflecting on when you were talking about being outside and maybe comparing that to being inside where you are most of the time, is that I know I definitely feel sometimes better when I am outside. However, I can't really take all of my work that I do right now outside. And so it's a tricky situation. But then I can't think about what is it that's making me feel better about the outdoors. And right now, it's those little periods during the day when there is some sunshine, or maybe even just those periods during the week. So I try and think about, okay, if that's what I'm really enjoying, how can I maybe be by a window more often? Or maybe how can I build in time where I can be when the sun is out, outdoors, or at least visible to the sunshine. So yeah, think about manipulating what you can control, even if you maybe can't be where you want to all the time.
Exactly. One thing that I just thought of now that you mentioned it, Ellie, is for me, going outside is a huge thing that I try and do often, but just because of the nature of school and work, I can't. So, like Allie was saying, manipulating what you can control. What I enjoy about being outside, more so than just the act of being outside, is being alone. Because now that we're all virtual, everybody in my house is always here, So back in the day, I could have a half-hour drive to school every day just alone, and that would be my decompression, there and back. But people don't realize that when we went virtual, they might have thought, oh, thank gosh, now I don't have to drive to school. But for me, that was how I de-stressed. So really, like Allie was saying, analyzing what about it is making you feel better and then trying to incorporate that in your life. Sorry if you heard that. A motorcycle just drove by my house and that was kind of loud, but um, just ignore that. But yeah, assessing yourself, learning about yourself, controlling what you can, all very important. Okay, so this is a little activity that we sort of put together. And since nobody is here currently while we are recording this, nobody can respond, but I thought it might be fun if we sort of did it for those of us who are here, just to kind of, at the very least, give an example. So I can start off since I'm currently talking, but 5 things that make you happy. Actually, before I go, I will say that the purpose of this activity, once again, is to sort of self-evaluate and think about yourself in ways that you might not before. So 5 things that make me happy. Watching TV, because I relax. So I guess that would be relaxation. Going outside, going on runs, talking with my friends, and snacking. That's not really the best, but it makes me happy. 4 things I love about myself. I consider myself to be a competent individual. Um, I think of myself as intelligent, creative, and adventurous. 3 things I am proud that I accomplished. My college education thus far has been good. I am proud of where I came with that. I am proud that I have had several different jobs in my days, each of which I like to think that I have thrived at. And I am proud that I have the ability to own a car and maintain it and take care of it. And if you know me, you know that my car has many issues. So I'm proud that I have been able to, go beyond just owning the car, but actually being able to fix it. 2 things that I love about my environment. There is a pond right across the street from my house and a wooded area. And those are my 2 favorite things about my environment because they're very calming. One way that I can grow as an individual, I think we mentioned this before a little bit, but living in the present and not ruminating on things. And just the act of me going through those things has got me thinking, you know. So I invite Grace and Allie, if you guys want to share, feel free. I think it would be fun.
Yes. So I can go. 5 things that make me happy. My dog. I really love my dog. Family. Going outside, as you mentioned. Spending time for just self-care, as I kind of mentioned before. And then, oh, going to the gym. That's been something that I've really been into lately. I love like physical health because I feel like it really impacts mental health, and that's been really helping me as an individual. 4 things I love about myself. I love my ability to work really hard. I love that I kind of step out of my comfort zone a lot of times. I would say I like my smile, and I love uh, that I tend to approach people. That I'm an approachable person, and people have called me an approachable person. 3 things that I'm proud of. I'm proud of as far as I've gotten in my college career. I'm proud that I have been involved in an array of organizations in college, and I've really like made the most out of it. And then I'm proud that I was recently awarded for a scholarship. So, in my journey through that, although I didn't get it, but it was a really highly selective scholarship, and I'm just proud that I had the opportunity to go for it. And then 2 things I love about my environment. I love how I had kind of like was able to decorate my apartment the way I want to. And then on a more macro scale, I love living in Dearborn. It's We were just talking about this before the webinar started, but there's some definitely little hidden nooks and gems in Dearborn, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to go and explore those. And then one way I can grow as an individual, I would say living more in the present moment, as I mentioned before, and just taking more time to really focus in and not worry so much about the future.
Awesome. It's great to hear from both you and Chris as well about some of these things. I'll share. I'll try and make them a little bit more student focused since that's probably most relevant. But 5 things that make me happy. Some of these have been mentioned, but my dogs and getting to be around them all the time during this odd time that we're in. My partner and my family make me happy. I really enjoy cooking and baking and being in the kitchen. Really good check-in for myself. I enjoy being creative, whether that be a craft project like cross stitch I've taken up. I love that. Kind of losing track of how many I said. I'll say one more. I also really am happy when I get to connect with my friends, and however that is, virtual or not. 4 things I love about myself. I am definitely a goal-oriented person and have a lot of drive. Related to that, I have a strong work ethic. Keeps me going as well. I tend to hold a lot of responsibility just in the things that I do day to day. And I also love that I am motivated to connect with people. Three things I'm proud of. One of them that, I mean, I'm removed from college, but I still am to this day proud that I got through college. I'm a first generation college student, so I carry that with me. I'm proud that up to this point in my life, I traveled quite a bit, some domestically, a little bit internationally as well. And also that I tend to carry relationships with me despite so much transition in my life. And I really am proud of that fact to maintain relationships. Two things I love about my environment, at least currently. I already mentioned my pets, but that is really something that brings me a lot of joy, and I love that. And I love that we were talking about nature and sunshine, and I am more of an indoor person, but I love the sun. And so it's important that I am nearby windows and I get that in my current environment. So that is fantastic. And one thing to grow as an individual, I'm relatively new to our Dearborn community, so I need to connect with more folks and just get to know my environment a little bit better. I'm excited for that.
These were all great. Thank you guys for sharing. I just doing this, the three of us, I enjoyed it, So I encourage students to really just take a couple minutes. I mean, the three of us just knocked it out in like 5 minutes or so. It doesn't take too long, really helps you think about yourself. Highly encourage you to do it. Okay, so these are some resources for further development. Since nobody is here, I will look at them and sort of just preview what they are, but we won't go through them necessarily in depth. And we'll sort of leave this for you guys to explore on your own. Self-esteem worksheets are very beneficial. Can you guys see this screen?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, pop up. Okay. So this website here, Positive Psychology, I love, really has a bunch of good stuff. Okay, there's like a bar. Sorry, the Zoom bar was like in the way of where my cursor needed to be. And they have different things for different ages. For example, my mom's an elementary school teacher, so this would be something good for her to use. And you can see this is a long thing. So they have a lot of exercises, very beneficial. And we can, in terms of the resources, we can definitely include these links for you guys to access either in the YouTube, this will end up on YouTube, in our description of it, or on the peer advising website, or both, but they will be somewhere for you. Building confidence as a college student. These are specific activities for self-esteem as it relates to college students that I encourage you all to look at. Really good. These are all links, very beneficial stuff. Highly encourage. Tips for college students with low self-esteem. So this sort of focuses on if you would characterize yourself as kind of a low self-esteem individual. I think a lot of college students, even if they are not dispositionally low self-esteem, there are times in college when we just feel low. I felt low several times throughout my college career, and I have worked through it with the help of my friends and different tips and, like we mentioned before, not being afraid to ask for help. And so this is a little page with helpful tips about avoiding or overcoming low self-confidence. Okay, so this website is actually from the Community College of Rhode Island, and I included it in here because I thought, even though it's kind of dense, like there's a lot of reading, it's not too long, and it's definitely reading focused, but there are some good tips, sort of related to what we talked about already in this presentation, but good stuff to look at nonetheless. The Spinal website. This is more so focused on the positive aspect of self-esteem. So whereas the one we looked at, I think 2 slides ago or 2 websites ago was focused on how to overcome low self-esteem, this is for sort of capitalizing on good self-esteem that you have and sort of maintaining it, recognizing it, and moving with it. So once again, we encourage you all to look at these individually and sort of, like we've been saying, evaluate yourself. that is all that we have in terms of the resources, but here's our contact information. I can talk briefly on peer advising email. We have peer advisors working every day, Monday to Friday. Our website will also be linked. I will make sure to include that in either the YouTube bio if possible, or it's also on our Start Advising website. So if you are familiar with that, you can find peer advising through there. We have a contact form. You can text us, and we have a bunch of different ways to be in contact with you. So feel free to get in contact with us. Grace, I don't know if you want to talk more about the CAPS contact information, if there's anything students should know.
Yeah, everything can be found on our website. I'm sure Chris will link it in the YouTube description. Thank you for that. Or you can email us at umm-dearborn-caps@umich.edu. And then through there, you can sign up for support groups, therapy, individual therapy. And then also on our website, you'll find all of our flyers for all of our upcoming events. We have weekly Mental Health Mondays to where we always host events kind of like this one. And yeah, everything can be found on our website.
Awesome. Well, I once again encourage students to reach out to either of our organizations, and we are always here and we are more than happy to help. And I hope that you found this presentation beneficial. And I think that is all we have. That is. Any closing comments, either Grace or Allie, any last things?
The only thing I'll add, y'all did a fantastic job. I highly support each of these programs as an academic advisor. And I also just want to say that this overall topic can only support your academics. So a lot of the times if a student is struggling academically in one or more classes, it's like, oh darn, I need to study harder. And sometimes that's the case, but sometimes you just need to take care of yourself. And so I think this is a great partnership that our peer advisors and our PALS program, who typically talk about academics and study tips, are then pairing up with our lovely CAPS peer mentors. And together, you know, with those two forces combined, your overall academic success will improve as well. So well done to both of you. And I look forward to seeing students join into your programs as needed.
Thank you for that. Well, if that is all, I think we can call it. On behalf of both of our programs, thank you for watching. And once again, we hope to hear from you soon.
Thank you.